Pam Denahey, Director of Tourism. It's been a while since I've been here, so I always kind of like to take a step back and remind everyone what tourism is about, especially for the new city council members. So La Junta Tourism began in 2010 as an advisory board that manages and oversees the expenditures of a 4.5% lodging tax on all 8 facilities in La Junta. Just a reminder that the lodging tax is not part of the general city fund. It goes into a separate fund that is overseen by a tourism advisory board.
So it's not a part of the general fund?
Not a part of the general fund, yes.
I want to double check.
Yeah. So not a part of the general fund. Our chairman is John Yergert. Ron Davis serves on that committee. Colleen Oquist, Tracy Salzbrenner, Rick Wallner, city manager, and the mayor. So currently we have Rick Klein and Joe Ayala. As a result of the lodging tax ordinance this year, we collected $227,000, $227,566 and 28 cents. That's 28 cents is important. Yeah. So just to give an update of what we've been working on for tourism. We are able to leverage a lot of grants that we receive from the Colorado Tourism Office. So one of the grants that we have just received, it's a 2-year grant, $75,000, and we have a match of $7,500 that will total $82,000. I'm not good at numbers, am I, Lisa?
No.
$82,000.
I'll make sure she doesn't spend more than she's supposed to.
Yeah. So this was one of only 7 grants awarded in the state. We were only one of 2 rural communities. The idea behind the grant is a marketing campaign, and it's entitled You Would Never Guess. I can get really technical, but the easiest way to say this is for 2 years, we're going to be spending this money. We're working with a consultant that will help us with the expenditures. We're going to do a video promoting La Junta that will then point you to a landing page which will be on our website, which will have a unique URL that will then have ads through digital campaigning that then we can check the SEO, which is the search engine optimization. So I know there was a lot of technical stuff in that. But the important thing is that we're going to be, this is our first marketing campaign that we've been able to embark on. To be able to do it for 2 years to receive this grant is very exciting for us. And so I'd like to read you the script that we approved. We don't have anything else right now. We're working on, there's a lot that goes into it. Again, this was 2 years. But the script will sound something like this. Who would guess all this was here? A region rich with history and full of unexpected adventure. A place where you are surrounded by wonder, up, down, all around. A place to see, smell, hear, and experience the past. To disconnect from distractions and reconnect with what matters. Who would ever guess you would find all of this and more in La Junta? Visit La Junta and experience the unexpected. So that's going to be the video that will be seen. We're gonna the tourism board did see a draft. We're working on getting that updated with the right photos, videos. We did have a co-op a couple years ago that helped us get some B-roll and really good photos and video. But we want them to come back again with a second draft. So we're working on that. Don't have anything to show the council just yet, but when we do come out with that, we'll be happy to share that. And again, it will be on a landing page that we will direct people to see. And all of these things that they're talking about will be places like Bent's Fort, the Kashari Museum, the dinosaur tracks, of course, tarantula tourism, and all of those different things that we want to promote. So any questions on that? I know it's kind of technical with that grant, but we're very excited about it.
I do just want to add, before we get into questions, on that video, it has to be through that company that did that. We can't just pick local photographers to shoot videos. It's tied into the grant that way.
Yes.
So,
Thank you for the clarification.
That everyone knows that.
Yeah, and this grant, although it's through the Colorado Tourism Office, it's a federal grant that they received. So we're under even more specific guidelines than when we get a Colorado tourism grant, it's different to spend. And so we're having to go through all the federal procurement. So ours, vendors, everything had to be approved before we even wrote the grant. And it was just, and then to even add on that point, the video, the landing page, all of that stuff was clarified in the grant. So that was part of this whole campaign. Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
you said it was a $7,500 match. That money will come from your guys'
The
fund.
tourism board.
So just to note that's where that money's coming
Yes,
from.
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a relatively, as far as grants are concerned, this is a relatively low match. So it's for us to get what we got out of that and to leverage that additional funding is really incredible. The next thing,
Will it like pop up when you're on YouTube, or will it be on broadcast? Or?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be able to, even beyond this campaign, figure out ways to use the video. I mean, the main thing, the really exciting thing about this campaign is we're working with this consultant to help us with some really good, catchy ways to do the advertising. So a lot of the advertising will point to that, but yeah, we'll own the video, we own the footage, we own the script, we own the voiceover, and all of that will be part of that. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. The next thing we're going to be working on in 2024 is a new Visit La Junta website. If you've had a chance to visit our website, it's a great website, but we did it in 2017. And so it's just time that it needs to be updated. We were able to do a update to a page. It's the Tarantula Fest page. If you get a chance to go and look at that, I can go on there and I can update it quickly. The technology in 2017 was very different, so making changes we ran into this on tourism board, on the eat and the stay and the play, changing pictures or changing much content. Anything other than content is challenging, and as a director of tourism, I am the one that does that. So we're looking forward to a refresh and a redesign that will also take into account our new brand that we did have done. This is the one with the tarantula, but in 2017 we didn't have our Visit La Junta logo with our rich history, unexpected adventure tagline. So that will be incorporated through that as well.
Will the QR code still work?
Yep, QR code. So we'll still have the same visitlajunta.net. It'll just look a little different. But I think we're just getting started on that. So I really like what we did with the Tarantula Fest page. More pictures, less content. So I think it might feel a little bit more like that. But when we get down that road, we'd be happy to share where we're at. Other thing for 2024 that we're going to be prioritizing is short-term rental data. So short-term rental is an easy way of saying, a technical way of saying VRBOs and Airbnbs. This has been something we've been hearing about. And our partners at Colorado Tourism Office have found some data. They found some companies that can help us with this. And so we've talked at the tourism board about hiring a firm that can help us go about doing this, because we've made calls, Elisa's made calls, we've even had our wonderful partner at KOA make calls, because some of what he's doing is Airbnb and we've been unsuccessful. So the initial we've gotten a quote from a company that can help us, and their initial report is that we have nearly 20 listings in and around that would be under our lodging tax that we're missing out on probably more than $10,000 in lodging tax funding. Now that was just their report. We haven't dug into that, but the board feels, and I agree, that it's important to do some research on this and how we can collect that additional lodging tax. Of course, when the ordinance was written in 2010, this wasn't really a thing, short-term rentals, and there's a lot of cities and municipalities that are having conversations. So the Colorado Tourism Office, again, is a great partner to help us navigate through this. So there's a possibility we could see that additional increase in our lodging tax collection. Next thing we're working on in 2024 is, I know I mentioned CTO a lot, but again, they're a great partner. We were able to leverage another opportunity where this is, they call it a grant, but we're not receiving money. It's the Destination Development Mentor, where we will receive 100 hours of mentoring, which is pretty much consulting. And what we decided to apply for on that is Tarantula Tourism and the Tarantula Fest have been phenomenal, period. We have found that, and we knew we were going to have some responsible visitation issues that we would need to address. And so we are taking this time and this 100 hours of consulting to bring together, convene some stakeholders in law enforcement, private property owners, some of our partners at Comanche Grasslands, to have conversations about how we can be more proactive about responsible visitation to visit the tarantulas and when we're on public land. So we're really excited about this opportunity because we want to make sure that the people we're inviting here to visit the tarantulas respect the land and the tarantulas as much as we do. And so the idea behind this is we're hoping we'll come out with some actual language versus right now we're kind of using just basic leave no trace principles. But this will be specific to La Junta and what we're wanting to say, and then some ways that we can implement it on our website and even come up with possibly a marketing campaign or a PR campaign to really get that word out. Any questions on that one? I've reached out to all of our partners to be a part of that stakeholder group, and they've all said yes and are very pleased to be involved with this because we find it's very important. Very important for us. The other thing that, if you weren't aware, the United States of America and the state of Colorado will mark two important milestones in 2026. The 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the Colorado's 150th anniversary. So Governor Polis created the America 250 Colorado 150 Commission to lead the state's commemorative endeavors. So I have been asked to be a part of that advisory panel, and I know thank you. I know 2026 sounds like a long ways away, but it's important. This is an important piece of obviously our history and our country. So we have been meeting monthly of ways to do that, and it's really starting to gain steam here in 2024. So the main thing we'll be looking is really convening a cohort of people that want to help promote this. Again, it's a commemoration, not necessarily a celebration, and those are the words that they're choosing to use. So I'll be happy to give updates, and if anybody's interested in being involved, we're certainly welcoming that. But it's exciting to have La Junta and Canyons and Plates represented on that commission or that advisory panel. Last thing, I will just, I'll punt to Rick on this one, but wanted to say that there's the multimodal project that we have been talking about for years and years. And years. And for those of you that might not be aware, the idea behind the multimodal project is to have something of a kind of a welcome center.
Yes.
Idea that we have the bus, we have the train. We don't really have a welcome center here that we can take advantage of at the train station downtown here. So Rick received a grant, well, the city of La Junta received a grant through CDOT, and they have awarded the contract to move forward. It's 100% grant funded for multimodal design.
Yes.
That was applied for by the city of La Junta. So tourism is going to be a partner, but that's not a grant that we own. All of these CTO grants that I've been talking about are grants that we are managing and owning. Multimodal project, he's also working with the city engineer, Martin, and so we will work closely with Martin, the tourism board, and make sure that we are lockstep in whatever we can do there, hoping that this will then lead, this initial phase is the design.
Yep.
And then once we get through that, then there could be more funding for construction.
Yeah, the CDOT put back $4 million for the construction of it. Yeah.
So
When was that grant received?
It was about a year ago, and they were supposed to give us one by contract by mid January, and the person I was dealing with quit. They went through like 3 people, so now they're back to square one, trying to get somebody in to get the contracts out.
So we do have those funds.
Oh yeah, and they're going to put the date out further because they can't get the contracts out, and it's just not just that one. They got them all around the state. They can't get out. So yeah, no, it's a real problem for CDOT right now.
And that's through CDOT. We can't move on without that.
No,
Yeah.
not until we get a notice to proceed. But you know, it's just like with the trail. When you saw the notice to proceed, and you saw how fast it went, once they give you the okay, but you gotta have that piece of paper, or else they don't pay for it, and it just turns bad. And I've been there, and we don't do that.
You did a lot of work on that, Rick, too, to see where the hang-up was. And to
Guaranteed.
see if we could extend it and not lose it because
Yes.
of,
Yeah.
so thank you for that.
My pleasure. And you know, the through train, car train, you know, they put study on hold until they get the segment between Denver and Colorado Springs done for front range rail, so that way that they have the whole segment. State of Colorado was one of 2 projects that the Federal Railroad Administration gave $500,000 to jumpstart their projects. Of all the projects that you see going about with Amtrak and expanding out passenger rail, front range rail, and one other is the top ones, and we're the only ones who got her done. So I feel pretty proud that they've continued and where they're at. You know, I know, you know, it's just like you said about 2026. Folks, we'll see a train going up and down the spine of the front range if that vote goes through next year within a decade. And the through train, all the numbers are good. I fully expect it to go, and you know, and I'm keeping my eye out on all that. Just because I retired doesn't mean that goes bye-bye. You know, and I will be. And Bill and I have been having talks about the multimodal and stuff, and you know, Martin and him will get that job done. And they know that they could turn to me for any help, but I doubt if they need me. But I'll be there at the design meetings and pick and choose just like all the other citizens and have fun.
Dude.
Because
So-
that's the fun part.
yeah.
It really is to me.
So just to clarify, kind of, Damon, to your question about matching funds, you know, the way this grant works is it was CDOT and it'll go to the city. Some of these grants run through tourism. This one won't run through tourism, but if and when we are able to apply for funding,
Yeah.
there could be a possibility that we can use tourism dollars for match. But as you know, with grants, who knows what'll be available at the time. So, but that's a plan and a good reason for kind of the tourism board being saving the money in case a big project like this comes, because
We need exhibits, we need
Yeah.
furniture, you know, there's gonna be a lot of items that grants don't pay for, you know, it's
Yeah.
all the soft cost stuff, I always called it.
yeah. So just to give update there. So that's kind of what Lahaina Tourism is working on from the local level. One of the other things that I was asked to probably when I first started in this position was to get involved with Canyons and Plains, and that's the regional heritage tourism group. And for those of you not aware, that serves the 7 counties of Baca, Bent, Crowley, Kiowa, Las Animas, Otero, and Prowers. You know, Trinidad, Lamar, and La Junta are basically the hubs that see the most of the people that travel through that. So it's really important that Visit La Junta is involved with that organization. Rick Wallner used to be the president, and he served on our board. He serves on our current board for Visit La Junta, but he stepped down, and so I am currently the interim president until we find another plan.
So you're the interim, huh?
Yeah, I am the interim for that.
A place for you to go, Rick.
So yeah, it's a really important organization, and we didn't want to it still needs to move forward. It is also under Canyons and Plains has taken the Santa Fe Trail Historic Byway under its umbrella, so that's something that's moving forward as well. So from a regional standpoint, we are involved with tourism that's happening in the region. So we try to look beyond just La Junta and our partners out there. I talked a lot about this Colorado Tourism Office. I think it's important to note that I also am involved with a number of their committees. So I am a member of the marketing committee, and I try to speak up as often and as loud as I can about rural, and there's more than just mountains, and it's important that we have that represented in the advertising. I went through the Colorado Tourism Office leadership journey, and I currently am the chair of that alumni subcommittee. And then I'm the member of the CTO Destination Stewardship Council, and I think a couple of you attended the workshops we had, and we will be having a draft strategic plan that comes out. The idea behind stewardship is what we're talking about here with the responsible visitation, is how do we invite these people to come, but to love it as much as we do as locals, and leave it as good or better than when we left, is kind of the idea behind that destination stewardship. So I'm really happy that CTO has made this a priority as well. The other hat that I wear that I think is important to just remind everybody is I was appointed to the Great Outdoors Colorado Board in 2019. I'm going to be officially reappointed for a second term on March 7th. When I was originally appointed, I was CD4, but as you might know, now that the lines are redrawn, I'm now in one of the representing CD3, which is one of the biggest districts of the state. So,
In the mountains.
yeah,
Well done.
yeah. So
Big deal.
that's sometimes a challenge, but and I also am the current GoCo board chair. And I represent, as part of being on that, I'm on the CPW State Recreational Trails Committee. So I try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on locally, regionally, and statewide. So a couple events, I think it's going to be approved tonight. There's the Arkansas River Basin Water Forum that's coming up in March. And of course, we have the Tarantula Fest, the third annual Tarantula Fest, that is tentatively scheduled for September 27th and 28th. We're going to have our first meeting, I think, later in February. There's talks about expanding tours possibly to Sunday, but that's not something we've decided upon. It's just the tours are really popular, so trying to find ways that we can expand those in a, again, sustainable and responsible way. We do know that the tarantulas also come out in the morning, so maybe it's a possibility to do a Sunday tour, but we're going to take a look at that and see if that's a possibility and if something that we can add to this year. That's all I have. I tried to keep it short, Joe, but I realized I had a lot to share.
I have one more for you.
Okay, yeah.
And this is just because this was a big thing for us last couple of weeks. It's Ben's Fort.
Yes.
Can you give us an update on Ben's Fort?
Yes, I can, and I was going to bring my phone, and I'd be happy. And Rick, I think you shared this statement.
Yes.
Ben's Fort is one of our most treasured tourist attractions here in La Junta, and I've even had some questions of, is Ben's Fort technically in La Junta? Yes, it's technically in La Junta, but as I read how the collection is, we collect on people that stay in the hotels. And Ben's Fort feeds into that. So we are partners with them. We monitored that closely. I do know that the second floor is a result of structural issues that they're working through. The other stuff that was mentioned, I think, was some things that they're working through as far as the living historian and living history and the animals. But we will continue to partner and show up however we can and be a good partner to them.
Yeah, they came through and did an analysis on whether the livestock met the standard of care. And they had asked them to reduce the number, so they could make sure the animals are properly cared for. And but it didn't say what that reduction is, so I'm sure dachshunds went bye-bye, is what I'm thinking.
And how is Ben's Fort funded? Just so everybody knows.
Thank you. Yes, I love that leading question. Ben's Ford is part of the federal government, so it is not overseen by the city of La Junta or the county.
Or the
of
tourism
Otero,
office.
Or the tourism office. So other than being a partner and us, making calls and inquiring, we have no oversight over that. And I will say, from conversations I've had with them, it is federal government, so as we know, money, even with our grant, we saw takes a little longer. So probably getting the second floor open is going to take longer because they're waiting for those federal dollars to come through. So I think safety is an important piece, and I know it might seem frustrating, but we've got to make sure that the guests are safe. And if they don't feel like the second floor is structurally sound, then that is something that needed to happen.
But it's a federal agency that's at National Park Service as part of your federal government, folks. I don't think we could even give them money if it was a possibility, because it's a federal government. So it's not. It's
But
not a
if
possibility.
anyone wanted to, they could write their congressperson.
And they're
could
encouraged
write
to do so.
MPS.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying this because I know I got calls and emails. Rick and our county commissioners and Pam, we were all getting these same calls, and people are mad and they're upset. And yes, we also care about Ben's Fort. We don't want it to go away, but our hands are tied at that point to what we can do. So
The commissioners couldn't get a call back either.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was in the same boat.
And just like all of our tourism partners, with the U.S. Forest Service and the Kashari, I mean, they're our partners, and our job is to promote them. Our job is not to tell them what to do or tell them how to do their business. Just like it's not our job to tell the hotels how to do do business. They collect the tax, and the attractions are our partners, and that's kind of as far as that goes.
any questions for Pam?
No, just a comment. Thank you for all you do, Pam. And I think when I go to the metro area and I visit with friends or people in the metro area, they used to ask me about, hey, how are the crops this year? Now they ask me about the tarantulas. So you have unseated agriculture as the #1 thing that we're known for down here, and that was a gargantuan task.
Yeah, I was just at a meeting the other day in Loveland, and they were asking me where I'm from, and they were like, "Oh, we can't wait to come and see the tarantula." So it's and we have great partnerships with even our students at the high school that are now taking up science fair projects and wearing our shirts proudly. So it's exciting to see that. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
I mean this very sincerely. Your list of credentials, your appointments, the commissions you sit on, the boards that you work with, all of this stuff that you've done is very, very impressive.
Very.
Thank you.
I think La Junta is very, very lucky to have an eager beaver like you doing what you're doing. It's just very impressive. But the question that I have for you is, when do you find time to do your laundry?
That's what husbands are for.
He watches this.
Moving on.
Thank you for everything you do, Pam.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Pam.
Same thing for me, Pam. You've excelled on everything that ever thrown your way, and you took it to a whole different level, and we can, as a community, can never pay you back.
Oh.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And I love La Junta, so just like everybody here it does and on the tourism board, and it's easy to promote and be passionate about something you love. So.
And if anyone has questions, they have tourism meetings that are live streamed, or you
There.
can show up and
Absolutely.
ask those there. So
Yeah, and
Actions on the 20th.
yes, and our website has my contact information, my direct line, my phone number, and an email address, so you can call or email me. I'm always open.